Good evening, YouTube. What the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, and I'm going to be reminding you tonight why Total War Warhammer 2 is so amazing. Is this a dig at 3K? No, I'm just talking about why Warhammer and Total War is so awesome, and I think this battle is a great illustration of it. So get yourself strapped in for one of the more amazing battles that I think I've seen in this awesome 2v2, where Bretonnia and the Vampire Counts take on the Lizardmen and the Wood Elves. Real quick, before we get into that, there's a special request from one Albrecht de Bordelot. He's been looking at the stats on my YouTube channel, and he knows that there are enough people watching this video who aren't subscribed that if you subscribe today, would put me to the 250,000 subscriber mark, and then we could have a giant celebration with lots of giveaways, awesome content, and all kinds of other fun stuff while you get to be part of an awesome event. Hey, no, in all seriousness, thank you for those who have been supporting me. The last couple of days were a little bit slower, so I'm going to need you all to help me if we're going to make it to that 250,000 goal very soon. We're roughly 2,000 away. There are at least 5,000 people a video who aren't subscribed who are watching, so tell me what I can do to help you subscribe. You're here. Why not subscribe? Get that awesome content. Thanks for being here. Let's get in the battle. Folks, this is going to be an enormous battle, and I again think that it's going to illustrate why Total War Warhammer 2 and just Warhammer in general is so good for Total War. The huge battles, the complexity of it in the sense that there are magic, there are units with special abilities, there are units that fly, there are units that run, that are faster than others, with anti-large, with armor piercing, with magic resistance, physical resistance, lores of magic, breath attack. Like, there is such a huge depth to Warhammer 2 that I think that's why it makes this game so much fun. And when you play these 2v2s, you get to see a lot of that depth in action at its potential, because there are so many different things you can do when you combine two factions. And in this particular battle, it just turns out being crazy because all four players go heavy Air Force. We've got Albrecht de Bordelot being supported by some Royal Hippogriff Knights. We've got a Blood Dragon Vampire Lord on the Zombie Dragon with a couple of Fellbats and several Vargeist and a Terrorgeist, so an enormous flying contingent, but it is matched on the other side by two Forest Dragons, one of which has a Glady mounted. She's supported by Way Watchers, Glade Guard, and Spellsinger, Lore of Life. Now, of course, the Bretonians have a Damsel, Lore of Life. And then back here we have the Master of Skies, Tic-Tac-Toe, and he is actually on his Pterodon in this battle, not a Ripperdactyl. And then he is supported by some Ripperdactyl riders, and then there is the Poha Sentinels and the Colossedon Hunters deployed back here with him. There is a lot of infantry in this battle. I'll just kind of cover it quickly. I am going to pause it so you don't miss any of this action. For the Lizardmen, they have a Bastiladon, some Sara Spears, a couple of Red-Crested Skinks, more Pterodon riders with Fire Leech Bolas, and then a Salamander Hunting Pack for support. And then for the Wood Elves, there are the two Way Watchers here, and we've got a Gladegar Starfire Shaft and a Hagbane Tip and another Starfire Shaft, so a lot of archers. There is one unit of Treekin. He's supported by Eternal Guards, and then here's the Spellsinger, Lore of Life. Bretonnia has mostly peasants for infantry, a little bit of pole arms in the back, and then there are some Grail Knights, some Knights Errant in the form of the Defenders of the Fleur de Lis, and then another Grail Knight over here, and some peasant archers with pox or I think it's just pox arrows that I've spotted here. Now, the vampire army, mostly chaff, like you would expect, especially when you've spent that much on a flying contingent, a front line of zombies, and a second line of skeleton warriors. So lots and lots of chaff for all the factions, really, considering their spend. But let's dig into this fight. The Fellbats are going to quickly catch up with one of the Pterodon riders, and Fellbat's speed does give them this ability to help trap stuff in order for a vampire goon squad to catch up. So you can see the vampires gunning for that squad back there, while Albrecht and his Hippogriff Knights may have eyes on the Glady and the Forest Dragon, but this is going to be a very tough combo to take down over here. Albrecht is no dragon, and he's not like Karl Franz with those two abilities that turn him into one, basically. He's tough, he's good, but he's not a dragon. You see the vampires down here chasing a Tic-Tac-Toe and his Ripperdactyls and Pterodon riders running for their lives. The Colossedon Hunters and the Poha Sentinels will have a slightly better chance over here, but they are being chased by a Terrorgeist. Let's get in over here. Albrecht was brought in too close, and he gets caught by the prey of Eneth Rhaema. which is going to get him hit and take extra damage from arrows, but more importantly, it pins him in place for a melee beating by these two dragons. His Royal Hippogriff Knights did manage to get away from it, but it is looking like Albrecht de Bordelot is going down flaming right here. He won't survive. The damsel attempted to heal him, but it just wasn't in time. And Albrecht is going to flee the battle shattered and won't return. So the vampire counts moving in with their kill squad, and then the battle on the ground is starting to form up. All the vampire chaff is headed this way. It will take these other factions a while to chew through it, as there is quite a lot of vampire chaff. However, a Feral Bastillodon will do very good against all that chaff. And look back here, the Colossedon hunters absolutely owning the Terrorgeist. I mean, just wrecking it with the help of the Poha Sentinels, who are poisoning both units, but hey, it works out in the end. The Terrorgeist takes a beating. The Terrorgeist poisons as well, so everybody in this fight is just going to end up poisoned regardless. But the Colossedon hunters pulling out a big win here for Talakwa and their chief, Tic-Tac-Toe. So back here we've got some Pterodon riders that were attempting, I think, to go for the Damsel Lore of Life, and the Hippogriff Knights come to her aid. Always chivalrous. Tic-Tac-Toe is mostly avoiding engagements. He's not really meant as an anti-large, and he has to be very careful up against a dragon or something. You can see here the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord and the Vargeist trying desperately to break up archers and cause some damage. There was a summon back here, the Skeleton Warrior, which very nicely interrupted some of the archers. And this Blood Dragon Vampire Lord now in the thick of combat here. A little support from the Damsel right there with an Awakening of the Wood. See the Vargeist swooping around looking for opportunities. Vargeist, again, good at pinning units down, good at taking out unarmored units. Not going to be so great in any other engagement. Got the Defenders of the Fleur-de-Lis back here. The Blood Dragon Lord now finds itself way overmatched, though, and once again, prey to Anathema. And this is a very nice use of this by the Wood Elves, and they have used it to cause extraordinary damage to the flying forces of their enemies. The Royal Hippogriff Knights, though, have not lost a single unit, and they still have the support of the Damsel. The Bastillodon is berserking a bit, but still mostly in good shape there. Yep. Just trying to get a swing out over the fight here. Colossedon Hunters still in the background here. Getting rid of some units, so they are still a ways off from the battle. The Defenders of the Fleur-de-Lis trying to get in here, but there are a lot of spearmans. Zombie summons is always great here because they cause fear, and it's going to force these archers to retreat and reposition where they can't continue to hurt the Blood Dragon Lord. A nice charge here from the Cavalry of Bretonnia. The Grail Knights back here cleaning up the Sisters of the Thorn. Grail Knights have magic attacks, and the Sisters will suffer badly at their hands because they have anti-large and magical damage. You can see the Glady getting up here looking to replenish. The other Forest Dragon in good shape. The Vampire Blood Dragon Lord getting hurt pretty badly. You can see Tic-Tac-Toe did manage to get into some fighting down here, but he will need to be careful, as there is a pretty vicious vampire squad very near him. But that vampire squad has their eyes on these dragons. There is an Invocation of Nehek right now, helping out the vampires. But this is a heavyweight fight with the two dragons on the other side of that. Forest dragons are quite potent. And not anything like a star dragon, of course, but they're still pretty strong. And you're going to see these archers. You're going to see these archers get hit by the Vargeist. Another prey of Anathema, and the Wood Elves are really starting to assert some vicious supremacy here with these dragons. The Blood Dragon Vampire Lord's in trouble, but chivalrous to the rescue. I don't know how chivalrous it is to rescue a vampire, but here comes the Royal Hippogriff Knights. However, Tic-Tac-Toe swinging in to help really try and bust out this Blood Dragon Vampire Lord, who is very near to being re-dead after having lived in undeath. The archers back here are in huge trouble now, getting chased off in just about every direction. The Blood Dragon Vampire Lord just barely managing to escape here. Tic-Tac-Toe in pursuit, but can't land the killing blow before he's surrounded by Vargeist. However, the Glady goes at the same time, and the Royal Hippogriff Knights still have not lost a model. They've now picked up an entire chevron of experience due to the damage done, and that's saying something because they only have 19 kills, so these Hippogriff Knights are causing tremendous damage. But look at this Forest Dragon too, also causing tremendous damage. Wow. The Blood Dragon Vampire Lord just barely alive. There were some Way Watchers that regrouped and nearly killed it. All these archers are looking to do so. The Glady has arrows as well. Wouldn't be surprised to maybe see her take a pot shot at that Blood Dragon Lord. The other Forest Dragon gets stuck on the ground amidst pole arms and a Grail Relique. And then there are Royal Hippogriff Knights still just tearing away in here. They're working on their second chevron. The Grail Knights are looking to knock out Tic-Tac-Toe, who is now wavering. A breath attack there from the Forest Dragon, kind of just barely missing the mark. Looks like the Feral Bastillodon coming in here quite healthy, ready for a battle. There was two of them, because here's one out here that was quite damaged. So a Feral Bastillodon left on the ground along with Treekin. There are some cavalry, but I would say that the ground forces are going to be favoring the Lizardmen and Wood Elves, whereas the air forces right now probably slightly in favor of the Vampires and Bretonnians, especially with this move here. The Royal Hippogriff Knights easily picking up their second chevron and halfway to a third with that big charge on the Forest Dragon is the charge where these Royal Hippogriff Knights can put down so much damage, and then supported by Lore of Life, they can really tank out and do a lot of damage. So Tic-Tac-Toe is the last remaining foe in the air. The Tic-Tac-Foe. Anyway, we've got a Skink Priest, Lore of Heavens, back here. He is fighting for his life. Some of the last leadership for Talakwa, since Tic-Tac-Toe is struggling to land without getting the crap beat out of him. Red-Crested Skinks with some pretty good numbers. Of course, they were just up against Chaff, so I would expect to see good numbers on all of the Lizardmen units there. And Tic-Tac gets caught here by the Royal Hippogriff Knights. This is not where he wants to be in life. He would much rather be in a nice warm rock in Lustria doing some sunning. But he probably has the speed. Yeah, he does. He definitely has a speed advantage if he can just get away from those Hippogriff Knights. This Blood Dragon Vampire Lord is very weak. It's on his last legs at only 456 hit points, and you can see that I think Tic-Tac wanted a piece of it, but he gets intercepted by all these Vargeist. So that was a gutsy play that did not end well, and Tic-Tac gets thrown from the air and lands next to the corpse of a Vargeist. That is quite the resting place to end up. Probably not exactly what he'd envisioned when this battle started. So that leaves us with a balance bar that is pretty close, and it's likely because there's a Bastillodon, like I said, Treekin, there's still a Skink Priest here, there are Saurus Spears, but this is where the Hippogriff Knights can come out to shine. They can't be countercharged by anything on the ground, and they cause tremendous charge damage. So these Spearmen are going to feel that for sure. Not to mention the Terror, and that's what they're really aiming for there. The Blood Dragon Vampire Lord has a little bit of hit point healing that can be done. So this battle should likely start to swing in favor of the Bretonnian Vampire Count Alliance, which is pretty unholy considering the Bretonnian trailer in the game to begin with. Let's check out this Bastillodon here. Really cool looking unit. Treekin, other units here, pounding what's left of any ground forces for the Vampire Counts. There's a summoned Graveguard. No, this is not summoned. This was here originally. I just missed this amidst the Skeleton Warriors, so there is at least one armored unit here. It wasn't all fodder for the vampires. This would explain why they have one unit still standing. Graveguard, however, not going to be dishing tons of damage against any of the targets here. They'll just be slightly harder for them to kill. Now the damsel is only on foot, and she's in trouble now as she was being chased, and then the Treekin are going to have her here, so the damsel in big trouble. She is broken, and then the Treekin are going to come over here to focus on these zombies. Oh, those Hippogriff Knights kind of look like they were charging the Treekin, but it may have been actually aimed at the Skink Priest, and now the Skink Priest finds himself in a tough spot, hit by the Helm of Discord as well, and that's going to affect the Treekin, so a very bad place for the Lizard Elf Alliance here. Helm of Discord is pretty excruciating. Causes a lot of disruption to your stats. Look at these Hippogriff Knights. They still have not lost a unit model, and they are at over 3 chevrons of experience. It's incredible, and that's only with 45 kills, so it shows you the type of damage. Look at that. The Damsel manages to come back. There is a Sarah Spear. Over here, some Sarah Spears are being bested by that Graveguard. Their armor is saving them, no doubt. There is a Grail Relique here. That is certainly going to be helping the morale of the remaining units for Bretonnia. Speaking of morale, check it out. 2 Grail Knights left in the fight. Talk about for the lady. For the lady. This Skink Priest, Lord of Heavens, has been incredibly survivable. I'm truly impressed. It must be because of how small he is, or maybe the ragdolling or something, because he has survived a tremendous amount of time before finally shattering there. This is why I love Total War and Warhammer. In this case, specifically Total War Warhammer II. Doesn't mean I don't love other Total War games. I'm having a lot of fun with Three Kingdoms. But did you all see this? The craziness, all the different units, the different abilities, the ranged attacks, the melee attacks, the cavalry, the infantry, whether it's chaff or good infantry, the specialty units like salamander hunting packs or Bastillodon. I mean, there's so many units. The Ripperdactyls, like the Colossedon hunters, taking down the Pterodictyls. I mean, there's so much depth to this game. I think that's what makes it so absolutely replayable. I have almost 2,000 hours, I think, between the 2 Warhammers, and I can still play the crap out of these games. They're that much fun because there's so much replayability, and even here, I think we're at least 2 years after the launch of Warhammer 2, if not, we're close to it. You're still seeing people playing these multiplayer battles, and you're still seeing all kinds of different stuff that you may not expect, because there's just so much, versatility to all the unit diversity. And that's one of the things that I love about this game, is that you can play it and play it and play it, and it's still fun. And that doesn't mean I'm not ready for Warhammer 3, because I absolutely am. But you all go down in the comments, tell me what you think. Do you think Warhammer 2 is the most replayable Total War game to date? I think it is by a mile, but I'd be curious to see what you all think. Plus, leave any thoughts you had on the battle. I'd like to say thanks to Wicked for supporting, or for sending this in to me. He's a very active member on my Discord, and appreciate the support that he gives me and all the fun battles that I've gotten to play with him and see from him. So let's take a look at the stats here. Black Phillip and his Goon Squad. The Terrorgeist, really the only one in the Goon Squad who wasn't able to get some pretty serious work done. That's because the Colossedon Hunters got together and knocked him out, but the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord and his Vargeist definitely getting some work done. There were 3 Graveguards, so I just picked out the only skeletons, basically. That explains why the Vampire Infantry line lasted for quite a long time. There weren't a lot of infantry units for the enemies that could have done much about those Graveguard, quickly at least. The Red-Crested Skinks do armor-piercing damage, but I'm guessing are a little too squishy to really knock out a Graveguard over the long run. I could be wrong, though. I haven't really tested that one 1-to-1. Here, Albric, of course, getting KO'd very early in this fight because he got caught by the prey of Anathrema. You gotta watch out for those Wood Elves. They are tricksy and have all kinds of little stuff up their sleeve for taking you out. Can't underestimate those pointy knife ears. So they took down Albric early, but Albric's chivalrous band of Royal Hippogriff Knights, keeping their pledge to the lady, bringing a triple chevron ownage to the battlefield, which was very, very impressive. And I'm curious to see, I bet this Forest Dragon earned those couple of chevrons as well. I would not be shocked if that were the case, and then probably the same with the Treekin, but hard to say because I didn't look at the armies ahead of time. Not a lot of kills anywhere else on the Bretonnian army other than the Grail Knights, but that makes sense when you look at it. And then for the Wood Elves here, a kind of a split performance for a number of units getting decent kills. Remember, they were up against a lot of chaff infantry too, so that's why you're going to see a decent number of kills here, but no chevron on the Eternal Guard. And then, as pointed out, the Dragons did tremendous work from the Wood Elves. Very, very good work by the Dragons. Very nice use of Prey of Anathrema, and timing those attacks to where you could maximize the effect of these 2 Forest Dragons and get a ton of work done out of it. A double dragon build for the Wood Elves is something that I've used before and I very much enjoy. There are lots of variants on it depending on what you bring to support those 2 dragons, but very much fun to use. Broken Sky with his Tic-Tac-Toe. What's funny is that Tic-Tac-Toe is the master of skies, but he was always the most vulnerable one in this battle. Whenever you end up bringing a Pterodon to a dragon fight, it gets pretty ugly. You can ask Albric about that. Tic-Tac it can get pretty rough. But look at the kills on the Lizardmen Infantry. This is a testament to the quality of the Lizardmen Infantry, especially when they end up against low armor chaff. They can get a lot of kills. Salamander Hunting Pack did get some work done. I didn't get a ton of focus on them in this battle, but they were a cool unit. And then we had the Colossadon Hunters, who also got some pretty significant kills. You won't be able to see it because they are rank 9 to begin with, but definitely good ones. And then the Feral Bastillodons are always great support for a relatively small infantry line because they can really get a whole lot of work done versus infantry. And then I liked all the aerial support here too. Loved this battle. Thank you for all the players who played in it, and thank you to Wicked for submitting it. I've actually got a ton more community replays lined up in my Discord that I'll be working on, so I hope you all are ready for a whole lot of battles, and that's one more reason why I think you should hit that subscribe button, click the bell, and be ready, because there's a whole lot more of this coming your way. HeirofCarthage, signing out for now.